Cool. Hi guys, welcome to episode 2 of the MB Dog Training Podcast. So I'm joined today by my good friend Rachel Bean. She's a registered vet nurse among many other things, which I'll let her explain to you. So Rachel, thank you so much for being the first official guest. I know producer Matt was my first guest, but our first dog training related guest. Thank you for coming on. So just tell us about yourself. Tell the audience kind of why they should trust anything that you say.
Yeah, basically.
Where you're from.
Yeah, so qualified veterinary nurse, I mean, what does it mean really? It means that that I am on the Royal College of Veterinary Surgeons register, what we call the register. So I have passed all the qualifications. At the moment, the veterinary nurse isn't a protected title. So anybody at the moment can call themselves a veterinary nurse. But we really want to value what the actual qualification is. So we train in lots of aspects in veterinary medicine. So everything from anaesthetics through to radiography to clinical things such as looking after older dogs with kidney failure, diabetic dogs and cats, obviously. So right across the board, we're trained in a lot of things. So we're kind of the conduit between the client and the vet. So we'll often phone the client and let them know that the animal is okay during surgery or after surgery, and we'll be the conduit for information. Yeah.
So with you saying it's not a protected term, and he's a dog trainer.
Yeah, similar.
So is the vet nurses that are practicing that aren't part of the
kind of. I mean, you can practice as a nurse if you like, because the ultimate responsibility is down to the vet. So we're always under veterinary supervision. But there's certainly things that we can do that an unqualified vet nurse can do. Yeah, basically what we call Schedule 3 procedures. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So it's not just like anyone can practice being a vet nurse, but there's levels to it, like everything.
Levels,
okay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of your main thing then, obviously being a vet nurse. But I know you for having a lot more than just that. Like obviously you do the first aid, which we'll talk to people about. I did my first aid training with you for pet first aid, at least dog first aid.
Yeah.
I've done a million like human first aid courses, like everyone has at every job I've ever had.
Yeah.
What else is there about you that sets you apart from the average vet nurse and the average sort of professional? What's that depth of experience that you've got that maybe others haven't?
I think it probably started because I actually started working at the Dogs Trust way back in 1994, and I was there for a couple of years as an assistant kennel manager, and obviously that brought me into contact with a lot of difficult dogs. So that's where I started my journey working with dogs that were being rehomed or were found straying and they've got behaviour issues. So I have a really strong interest in behaviour issues. I left the Dogs Trust just to be more hands-on, really, because I was assistant manager. It was a brand new kennels, and by the time it got to full capacity, I was dealing less with the dogs and more with staffing issues and ordering and numbers and that kind of thing. So I just applied within a 100-mile radius, and that got me a vet nurse training place down from Darlington, down in Manchester. So along with that, a very strong interest in behaviour issues and animal welfare, owner education. So from that, I've kind of developed lots of little niches, if you like. I'm still in practice. I still work part-time in practice and never left practice in 26 years now. But I do specialise in sort of behaviour issues at the moment that I enjoy, because we can't be good at all of them. Not everybody likes separation anxiety. Not everybody likes reactivity, that kind of thing. So I tend to specialise in maybe dogs that are a little bit difficult at the vets, maybe sort of handling issues, nervous issues. I have a particular strong interest in ex-street dogs because I've done a lot of work, voluntary work, probably about 6 or 7 years in Asia, so Thailand and India, working with the street dogs. So you learn an awful lot about.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of your visit videos from I think it was Mumbai with the two dogs that were like having a conversation, and I remember that video because I remember thinking, God, it's weird watching two dogs actually just figure something out and everyone stays out of it.
Yeah.
Because we don't see that. We meddle, don't we? Like meddle. Especially like people like, oh my God, they're gonna have a fight, or they're like, oh boy, don't be. I just thought that is so cool to see a conversation and communication happening between two dogs that just resolved itself.
Yeah, and that for me, that's one of the best ways to learn about dogs and how they communicate, is go to somewhere like that where they're living freely. They're not classed as feral dogs. These are pretty sociable, especially the ones on the beach, because they're born on the beach, they live on the beach, they're fed on the beach. They are really sociable, actually. Not all of them, but and one of the videos that I posted was to try and figure out, using the body language, to which one you could approach and which one you can't. It's really clear there. One orientates towards me and says, yeah, you can touch me, and the other one's eating with its back to you.
I think you put a video recently about
not touch that dog.
So there's a video, I'll stick it up on Facebook and Instagram and stuff, but basically it was when to interact and when not. So there's basically one dog that's sort of, hi, come here, love me, tail wagging, really approachable, and then one dog with its back like cleaning up a packet of I don't know, and it was very much a leave this one alone, say hi to that one, and that I think over here they're all pets, aren't they? So you don't really have that issue, but obviously abroad that's different. I had it I was in Antalya for only a couple of weeks. I wasn't there studying dogs or anything, but there's Anatolian Shepherds everywhere. I love Anatolian Shepherds. They're a nightmare to train, but I love sort of, I just love them as a breed. And that was the same. There were some dogs where they very subtly would just give you that signal, and then other dogs that would just go for a walk with you and like just keep you company for 20 minutes. And
some of them, you just see them just bristle just a little bit, and the tail just does, and then
So I think over there something they did really well. They sort of marked the dogs. So I think a lot of them had like a way of sort of identifying, is this one friendly, is this one the one not? It was just red and green sort of basically like cable ties almost that they had on. And in the same way that people over here have friendly on the dog's harnesses or nervous, and sometimes I see the dog with the friendly harness and I think, that dog's nervous.
Exactly.
You think it's friendly because it hasn't hit anyone, but you don't know. Like, I can see that dog's licking its lip, averting its gaze, and he's ever so slightly sort of things. And I think that green vest that you've got on that dog's going to be yellow next year when it's finally had enough of those things.
We did the welfare dog fest. I love dog fest. Last year, and there were the amount of dogs there that had muzzles on and all the nervous signs on them, and I'm like, that dog shouldn't be here.
I can't think of anywhere worse to take a
If it's nervous and has to wear a muzzle and has to wear all this warning gear, he'd love it just if you left him at home.
I think, because I took Albus to Dogfest when he was 1.5, and he's the kind of dog where he's not nervous of anything. He's just he's a ball of confidence. But then there was dogs that were like maybe over friendly, and he's then said, excuse me, get off me, I'm eating a bone here, go away. And then people are like, oh my God, this dog's aggressive. And you just think, go and have your dinner, and I'm going to come and put my hands in it 20 minutes from now, and let's see how you react. And this actually happened. I tell this story a lot. Albus, we've sat down, we've got ourselves out of the way for this exact reason. We're kind of a little bit out of the way because I've got him it was either a yak chew or I don't know, something smelly that he was chewing on. And we're having a brew, and we're out of the way. And this guy's got his Frenchie on probably, I think from what I remember, like a Julius Canine harness. He's 20 yards ahead of him on the flexi lead, and he's like, oh, say hello. And I'm like, nah, mate, he's eating. And this he's like, oh, he's dead, friend. And I'm, the story, you've heard it a million times. And then Albus just goes, dude, get away from my whatever it was. And the dog was like, hi, I'm here to say hello. And Albus just give it a quick correction. This dog went, oh, sorry, dude, and went away. And this dog's like, this bloke was basically like, we shouldn't be having your dog here if it's like that. So I said the same to him. I said, let me know when you're having your dinner. I'm going to come and put my face in it. And the guy just sort of, you could see.
The cogs turning.
And they just sort of went, oh, right, sorry, mate. And just took himself away. But I just think there's a million of those situations out there where people don't know what they're looking at in dogs. And I'm learning it myself. Like I said this on the last podcast when I was talking to Matt, I figure out, when I'm addressing like a behavioural case, I figure out the owner first, because that's the bit I'm going to control anyway. I can look at the dog and, notice the signs, and often body language, people look at one thing, like the dog licked its lip, it's stressed, but I'm also carrying liver, so is it stressed? But then I'll look at the owner and say, right, well, are you doing any of these things, or how do you go about these things? And I'll get like a picture from them first before we take the dog into situations, because then I don't have to address their behaviours as well as try and read the dog. And I think that's something I want to really brush up on this year, is like my understanding of body language. Because like, I think some of it's instinctual, isn't it? Someone there's been a couple of times where I've narrowly avoided either being muzzle punched or bitten. And I couldn't tell you what it was. And then there's been other times where I'm absolutely confident.
Fraction of stillness.
Yeah, the stiffening's always there.
Yeah.
But then there's other times where I just think, there's no way this dog bites me. And I couldn't tell you which.
Yeah.
Was it the tail? Was it the eye? Like, I couldn't tell you what bit it was that made me aware or not aware. And it's that kind of subconscious. But I think trying to teach people about dog body language is so hard because it's a whole.
Yeah.
It's not just, oh, the ears are pinned back.
Yeah.
Because, of course, well, what if it's just really windy? Albus puts his ears flat flat against his head when it's windy. I had someone on Instagram the other day like, go and look at your dog's body language. He's stressed out. I'm like, blowing a gale. Like he's shut the ears down because he doesn't want to. He's not stressed at all. He's having a whale of a time. But let's say you look at one piece of body language and think, well, that's not all of it. In the same way that humans are. Just because I'm smiling doesn't mean that I'm necessarily if I'm smiling, but I'm like, there's so much to it. So with that sort of experience, then you've been to all these different places, a lot of time in Asia. Where would you say, if you could take some of that experience and just drip feed it to the population of pet owners over here, especially those that maybe misread their own dogs or other people's dogs, what would you tell, if you could pick like a couple of things that you just had to get across to people, what would you choose to teach them about?
I definitely think how not to get bitten. That's got to be number one. You know, the bite statistics have, and don't quote me on the actual statistics, but they've gone up so much. And there's a reason for that, isn't it? Is that inappropriate ownership, irresponsible ownership, incorrect breeds, people getting breeds that are just too much for their skills. Doesn't mean that people can't gain skills, but they don't go and gain skills today. I'm going to buy this husky. I'm going to buy this terrier. I'm going to buy this fox red Labrador. Not do anything with it, and then wonder why. But I think breed knowledge is a big one. But from those countries, I think it's just let the dog be a dog, and accept what dogs do. You know.
Yeah, because there's such there's probably nowhere near as many times that people need to jump in and interfere when they do interfere where they absolutely don't need to. But then there is those times where you like someone needs to step in here because this is about to go south. But it's knowing when. And you know you've seen it a million times. The lead wrapped round and they're holding the dog back and like.
But where does it start? Where does the miscommunication start? Is it because of the shape of the dog, the breed of the dog? You know, like the Frenchie that you mentioned. Do they not communicate very well to other dogs?
Do you think that's the thing with Frenchies? So my understanding with Frenchies is, and I had this conversation literally yesterday with her dog, he's intact, and it's a real minefield getting a Frenchie neutered. It's something she wanted doing from the get-go. And the more I look at this dog, I'm not seeing much in terms of like nervousness or anxiety. So I don't think that should be a barrier for him getting done if she wants it done, because I don't think any of his behaviours are from that. He's a bit pushy. He's had a little bit of a lack of structure, nothing massive. But he cops for other dogs going off at him all the time because, and my understanding is they can't communicate as well because tail, not really giving much away.
Short body.
They've got very little control of their ears compared to a lot of other dogs.
They move very.
They're quite stiff and rigid, and of course there's the noise that's coming out of them and the bug eyes because their eyes don't fit their head. And so, is that something you find quite a lot?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and you know. Obviously, the Frenchies kind of. I mean, we're not picking on the Frenchie. I mean, you know, I've got plenty of friends that have got them. But the boxers used to be the same, and you know, we don't see them that many of them now.
No,
so there's other breeds taken over. But I think anything there's not the normal shape, and often these dogs will cause problems, or that's why the Black Labrador is often a target for aggression, because they tend to be the dogs that they're a popular breed, they're off lead, and when they're 8-10 months, they run up to another dog and bull it over, and then that dog's got a bad experience with a black dog.
So is it something I heard or read a while ago was that especially with like black dogs, because they're more of a silhouette to a dog's. They can't get the depth of them and stuff. Like, because I originally heard that about black people. Is that like some dogs find it hard to read their facial expressions, and obviously you get it a lot with like people with hoods up. That it's hard to figure out with a dog's like palette of colours, because no, it's not black and white, but it's very much a smaller scale than what we've got, a smaller spectrum. So I think that's something that I've picked up a lot, and I get asked that question all the time, like, right, my dog's racist. They don't like black dogs, they don't like black people. And I'm like, it's not, maybe it's not that, maybe it's just they don't make sense to their eyes as much because of the way they perceive colour and the way they perceive the world around them. But people just see it as my dog's racist, which is that, I guess that's that anthropomorphizing, which is something that drives me bonkers, because people like, oh, my dog's this, that, and the other, and I just think, I don't know, like, that's what you have managed to put, because I think we struggle as people to not be able to empathize or understand something, so we put in a story. Is that something you get a lot as a vet, a vet nurse, that you get people?
And sometimes you kind of do, especially in practice, because you're seeing a lot of people during the day, you've kind of got to do a lot of mirroring. You know, so if you know somebody who's really super sensitive about the pet, then you help them and you mirror them and you help them through. You'll get somebody come in that's, give it a jab, that's fine, bye. So you mirror with that. You don't want to like, say, oh, hang on a minute, you know, because you're just going to agitate them. So you just want the jab and gone. You know?
But then other people need you to tell them it's going to be okay, everything's going to be fine. That's the same in training. I get that. I get that a lot. There's some people I go to, I start unpicking it, and I start coming up with, right, maybe we should try this, that, and the other, and they're like, yeah, whatever, let's go. And then other people are like, well, is that not gonna? And I think that's the difference between a good dog trainer, and I suppose it'd be the same with a good vet or a good vet nurse, is knowing how to keep the owner on board, because like some people, that's my baby. Which sometimes has caused the problem, but you can't tell them that that's caused the problem without upsetting them. And then other people are just like, whatever. Like, exactly I'm open to whatever you think might help this situation. And other people are like, oh, I feel really bad. Like crate training, for example, like big advocate of crate training, especially in puppies. And then people are like, oh no, this is cell, it's my. And then other people are like, all right, okay, cool. So I'll get on Amazon now, and that there's such a. And like I'd like to say that I prefer people that are just like, let's go with whatever, but I feel like that doesn't challenge me then as a communicator to humans. Then, if they just do everything you want, I'm like, you're a dream of an owner, and I'm gonna get, it's gonna make an amazing result for this dog, which is great, but make me work for it. You're making it too easy. Fight me on this. But then sometimes you're like, stop fighting me. This needs to happen. And I think sometimes it's knowing when to. I think that's something I struggle with. I don't know. I think this is something you'll do better than me. Sometimes knowing when to just tell someone, listen, shut up and listen. This is how it's going to have to be. You're wrong, or you're misinformed or whatever. I'm assuming I'd like to think that as I get more experienced and see more things and get put in more situations, I'll develop that skill. Whereas sometimes I need to upset someone.
And then you'll get to a point where you'll just pick cases like I am at the moment, to say, I think I like that one. I won't like that one, but I like that one. So I do less of them, but just pick the ones that I like.
Pick and choose. I've noticed I do that more with, like, when people message us now, Robin, who handles all like the messages and the admin and the calendars and everything, because I'm awful at that kind of thing. Like, I'll be like, I'll get round to that. I'll do that for you. And then like 3 weeks later, they're messaging me and I'm sorry. Or I just think I'll change something in my calendar and I don't show up because I didn't change it. So I've got Robin doing the admin, but she'll kind of just ask a few questions. And I'm already looking at some of them going, I don't want to, I know what you're going to be like. And then other people where I'm kind of like, all right, okay, I can help this. But then there's some where I'm trying to, I won't say no to them. But I'll definitely not sell as hard, I guess, because I'm like, I don't really want to do it. Like, there's enough dogs out there. I'll find a different case that I like, but then I still want to help the dog, even if the owner's a nightmare, and it's such a moral conundrum, because the dog still needs someone to help, and if I don't do it, maybe they get another trainer that's pretty good, or maybe they get someone like, obviously, who we won't mention any names, but who me and you have both had run-ins with, that is going to make things 10 times worse because they're not capable. So in terms of like behavior, obviously we can talk all day on that sort of stuff, but obviously I want to tap into some of your sort of medical knowledge, because that's something that I have very little of. Because when people come to me and say, what should I do about this, what should I do about this, the amount of times a week I go, don't know, not a vet. Don't know, ask your vet. Check with the vet, because I don't know. Like, like,
and you're not allowed to say either.
Yeah, no, and I'm like, look, I'm
not either, unless I'm in work.
Yeah, they'll be like, well, it might be something about the dog's skin. I'm like, right, I'm out.
Yeah.
Or, or teeth or ears or anything like that, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'll help people a little bit on nutrition in that if they've got a bag of pedigree, I'm going to tell them, just move on to something a little bit.
Yeah.
Even if it's not all the way to raw, I'll still get them on something better, but as much as possible, I'll stay out of it. So we've had a few people sort of message in about some stuff. So obviously some of this might be, you'll have the same answer as me in that, don't know, ask the vet, but I'm assuming you'll have had experience with these things at least and you can guide us. So first one, so Elizabeth asked, I have a spaniel with a UTI.
Yeah.
Should I stop her swimming?
I mean, a UTI, urinary tract infection, shouldn't last that long, and it should be under treatment anyway because it is quite painful. It's like when we get cystitis, it's sore, so you need antibiotics. So I would say you need clearance from the vet, and it depends where you're swimming as well, because any hydrotherapy pool, a good hydrotherapy pool will ask if the dog's got any medical issues, and if you say they've got a new UTI,
I'm going to guess with the spaniel that's like the nearest res.
Yeah.
Or a lake or a canal or a river.
Yeah, then it's up to her to take the risk. But if it was my dog, I wouldn't. Yeah.
Would you?
It could be where she's got the UTI from the first.
Now, Albus is a very resilient and hard dog, but he's a pussy about water.
Yeah.
He will go in as far as about here.
Yeah.
He's just not a swimmer, and like it's something that I've kind of said, we'll go and do this, and I've just never got round to it because he doesn't really need to swim that much, and if he ever gets anywhere, I'll go in after him. But where is water and certain places, you hear some people say absolutely keep away from all. Like, where would you allow a dog to be in water other than a hydrotherapy pool?
Yeah, probably where it's like nice and clear. So
nowhere around there.
Yeah, well, you need to. I mean, I take my dogs up. I'm in Saddleworth, so I take them to the reservoirs there. They're pretty clean. You just got to be careful if there's any areas where it's stagnant, especially for your blue-green algae and things like that. But yeah, most of the reservoirs are fine. Yeah, and if it's a dog like that, then they like swimming. Yeah. They get obsessed with it. So that's why you've got to be careful. You've got to be careful that the dog just doesn't swim out and disappear. Yeah, just get the... Because they can get tired and then they can't get back. Like helicopter that run point no return if you can't go any further without having to... Okay. So some of those breeds, it's always a good idea to have a strong retrieve instinct and really have a retrieve habit going on, so you can say hey and then come back for the ball or whatever. Instead of chasing the ducks. It's not okay to follow the ducks because the ducks are pretty used to it. They'll lift off the water and go 50 yards, dog follows, and that happens till the dog's right in the middle of the reservoir, and then it goes, oh, can I get back? Okay, I kind of get like the image of like a cartoon character with a 5-pound note and stick on a piece of like a fishing line. That's it. And all of a sudden they're in the middle of nowhere. So and the water temperature as well. I mean, I was a bit shocked a few weeks back when it was not as cold as it's been this weekend, but there was snow on the ground. I wouldn't let my dogs go, and they're Labradors, working dogs, in the cold reservoir in this cold weather. There was somebody swimming there at Labrador over and over again, throwing a ball into the... I was like, I mean, so close to saying something. I thought, no, just ignore it.
Because I guess though, like I think obviously Canada's massive for that. Surely they're doing it over there quite a lot. Yeah, they do, but I think I just wouldn't. I'd be too scared. Yeah. Even if the dog's mauled, I'd still be. So I took Albus and Marina. I don't know if you saw the pictures I put up of them. We took them to Saddleworth Golf Club, and it was just Wyatt. There was a dude skiing with his dog. Like, it was amazing. I thought I'd just like entered another universe, and we got to at the side of one of the holes. There was just like just a pond, little pond, frozen over, but clearly not frozen over enough. And I was just like, boys, just stay 12 yards away at all times from that, because you're both thick enough to just walk onto it. And I don't want to come in there after you, but I will, but I don't want to. And I think I'd just get too nervous to let them anywhere near that kind of water. Okay, so something else in terms of health-wise. So someone's asked on Instagram, which is probably quite useful for quite a lot of people. Should you supplement to prevent anal gland issues? So obviously it's a big thing, isn't it? Anal glands in dogs. Yeah, it's something I know less than I should about. Yeah. So the anal glands are scent glands that are situated just on the inside of the anus. And when the dog goes to the toilet, there's a poo, it expresses them, so it gets a scent. And that's why dogs sniff each other's bottoms. So they can get blocked and it causes problems. The problem is we've changed the dog's shape.
the anal glands don't get expressed as they should with some breeds. So Cocker Spaniels, it's really common for to get impacted. Anything that's long, like Shih Tzus and that kind of breed. Cavaliers are quite common as well. The bigger dogs tend not to be. It's this kind of like 10 kilo size dog. You can, and there's quite a few regimes out there to help and support anal gland health. Yeah, so I'm not against it. Yeah. What I am against is them being emptied when they don't need to be emptied.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So because you can cause problems with that over emptying.
Right. Okay.
Because any capsule that you empty, the dog's or the body's natural response is to fill it back up again.
Of course. Yeah.
So then you get problems.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Makes sense. So because Albus, when we first got him, we wanted him to be good with the groomers. Took him to the groomers, and they basically groomed him, and then he basically just expressed everywhere. Yeah. And they had to then re-groom him. But it's like the only time it's ever happened with him. Yeah. And I think by then I got to loads of people, and the dog's bum shuffling across the floor, and I'm like, I don't know much, but that's not an itchy bum, that's something else. And you could, a lot of times people will be like, I had no idea. And like, I know this is something you're big on, anything medical going on is going to make anything behavioural 10 times more difficult. I mean, how many pictures and videos have I sent you of dogs and gone, does this look right to you? And you've gone, no, back left leg, or, you know, check the, and lo and behold, it's almost always led to something physical that was making training either really difficult or was actually the root cause of the problem. And there's the amount of times where, and obviously this is a conversation all on its own, but the amount of people I've gone to and said, I've looked at the dog, and without your background, just me knowing what I know about dogs, something doesn't look right. And I'm like, that leg doesn't, or that dog's not walking like, and I don't know what I'm looking for, obviously, like you do, but then they've got the all clear from a vet already, and they've told the vet about the behaviour issues that they're facing. And because I always tell people ears, like the amount of time it's ears. But the owner's like, yeah, we've been to the vet. The vets give the all clear. I went, did you tell them about this? And they go, yeah. At which point I'm then like, if I tell you to go to a different vet, you're going to tell me no because it's expensive. I'm like, fair enough, I get it.
It's a good idea to get evidence that they've been as well, because sometimes, occasionally, they haven't.
Yeah, that's
or they haven't asked the right questions. Or,
So we've had this conversation briefly in the past. If I was to speak to an owner and say, well, because I say to everyone, like, one of the first questions when you open a dialogue with us on any sort of messaging platform is, does the vet said all's cool? And then usually they're like, oh yeah, he's been for a checkup recently. But then I'm always kind of saying, right, well, a normal checkup, if the vet doesn't know that there's whatever behavioural issue going on, maybe isn't enough. What should I be telling the owner to tell their vet? What should they be going in with? How do they make sure they don't just get conveyor belted out? Because as like you know as well as everyone else, there's not enough vets, and they're short on time, and they need to be really efficient. How do I get them to stop the vet in the track a little bit and really look deeper into it? What could I tell the owner that they could take?
Yeah, I think what they need to do is try and explain how it's impacting their life and the dog's life, and it is, you know, for them, it needs to be resolved. So at least what the vet should be doing is routine bloods to pick up anything sort of medical, kidney function, liver function, diabetes, anything like that. And then sort of a pain check. So a bit of a squeeze all over, see if there's any pain response. And usually ideal would be then to be, if they found nothing, then referral to a veterinary physio. Because a veterinary physio couldn't find an awful lot of sore spots that the vet didn't. So for me, that would be gold standard. Before the behaviour.
So the owner says, right, this is really affecting us, this behavioural problem's affecting us. At which point a lot of them will say, well, get a trainer. But then I'm already there and I've looked at this dog and gone, I just don't think it's behavioural. I think, because usually like my brain as a trainer is trying to figure out source problems, and I'm always looking for external stuff, but I do still try and tell myself it might be something internal. I think my problem there is there's so many vets where they'll go in and then they'll say, oh yeah, we've already got a trainer and we're doing all of the things that the trainer recommends, but we just need to have it checked again. And they just feel like, I think I'd benefit from having something that I can just tell the owner or even just show the owner and say, right, take this into your vet and read it to them.
I think you can do that, you know, some video footage as well, and photographs and point out, I think, this doesn't look normal. You're not allowed to label it. Equally, I'm not allowed to. That's why I always respond to you. left hind leg looks a bit sore, but I won't say what I think it is because I don't want to be quoted, because then that's classed as a diagnosis, and I'm not allowed to do that.
Okay.
So you can explain in layman's terms what you've seen and what the worrying bit is.
Okay, I guess if I can see something looks wonky or off, like I think that's easy enough. I think there's some times where I've been in, and it might still be that, you know, I'm learning myself, and there might be something external that's happening that I haven't accounted for. But I feel like there's a lot of times where I'm looking at this dog and I just think, there is no reason for you to be behaving this way from external factors that I can think of. Where would a vet start if they've done, like, obviously, like you said, maybe referral to a physio might be that step. But where would you start if you were looking at a dog and they brought it in and they said, we can't find anything, he looks fine, we pressed on all the regular spots, we've checked the teeth, we've checked the ears, would you just go straight to, right, well, let's get a physio?
Yes.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, that makes sense. And they can do a lot more prodding and poking. Okay.
And because a physio has got to be vet referred, then the physio can discuss with the vet what they found. You can't just go straight to a vet physio. It has to go that route, because the vet has to refer to the physio.
Right, so sort of like a GP to a cardiologist. Okay, cool. Cool, right, that's good. Yeah, I think it's something I need to sort of and some owners are a little bit like polite, and I think sometimes they just need to be like, just slow down and just take me seriously for a minute. I know how busy you are and I get it, and I know there's a million other dogs coming through, cats and birds and everything else. But I think just being able to get that extra time, I suppose, and obviously, like big shout out to Katia. She'll come out to people, so there's always that kind of option. So Pet's relaxed, isn't it? Her business. I need to get her on here, don't I? Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, definitely.
We'll speak to her about that. So Katia does like home visits and gives the time that's required. So I think a lot of people just don't know that's an option. A friend of mine recently lost her dog, and the vet actually came out to do the the procedure at the end.
She does a lot of end of life. And she's
like, I thought, what an amazing thing! Like, but I'd have never thought to do that myself. You just think I've got to go to the vets and get it done there, but how much better to have it done at home? And obviously, I think a lot of the time she may then see things that, because the dog's in its natural, they're not. Because they're not somewhere new. Cool. Okay. So this one I have absolutely no idea on. I had a quick Google after. So Ricky, who does some training with us, he has a Dachshund, Toby, and he's asked about IDVV in Dachshunds. Basically, what can he be doing as an owner to be proactive? Yeah, he said it's in stage 1, which means nothing to me. I'm assuming that means it's early stages. What can he be doing? What's actionable for him that he can be doing to prevent making it any worse, but also maybe help him with what's going on so far?
Okay. So it's IVDD.
Cool.
Yeah. It's intervertebral disc disease.
Yeah, that's what I said. You just don't listen back.
So basically, because we've bred them to be long, their backs are longer, there's a lot of stress on the back. So what happens is the dog needs to jump off the couch or off the bed or something, and one of the discs pops out. So then it paralyzes them, basically. So you get different stages, and
which is why people have the steps onto the sofa.
And a lot of the latter stage ones where the dog is paralyzed, they have to have an operation to take that disc out, or they confuse the vertebrae. And then the dog does recover some movement, or the dog has to be in a wheelchair or whatever.
So what can Ricky do, or someone that's not even got a dog that's in stage 1? What steps can they be taking that will help prevent or delay or postpone the onset of it? I'm assuming with some it's almost unavoidable, and maybe it's a bit more hereditary, but then I'm assuming some it's caused by what they're doing. What can the owner be doing to be proactive and responsible?
There's a lot of information now and studies done that neutering has a massive effect.
Positively or
negatively if done early. So the tips are now to leave neutering at least 18 months, because you want the skeleton to fully grow and fully seal all the growth plates and what have you.
That male and female?
Yeah, male and female. Yeah, I think the statistics are slightly different for the males and females, but I can't remember off the top of my head. So now our vets, we're advising 18 months, but we'll do them at 14, 15 months, but we prefer to get them to 18 months. So anybody that comes in and wants a 9, 10-month-old Dachshund neutering. We educate them about the risk of the increased risk about IVDD. So, and quite 99.9%. Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah,
I'll
of
go
course.
away. Yeah.
Okay, that's
And
interesting.
the other thing is, the exercise. So no running down steep banks, running up steep banks, jumping off steps, stairs, running up and down stairs, couches.
So basically, any change in elevation should be, I suppose, taking it a bit slower if it needs to be done, and avoiding it.
And again, you can always get an appointment with a veterinary physio or a canine massage, and they'll give you exercises to core strength. Yeah.
Okay, so like I'm assuming with anything like core strength will prevent more strain on the back, which I guess that'd be something, I suppose, for if all like Dachshund owners would be aware of that, they could maybe start with basically just like core strength exercises, because the breed just needs that extra core strength because it's just so like
so long,
structurally awkward. That'd be a way of them being able to counteract something. That's cool. That's really interesting. Okay, so canine massage really good, and maybe some exercises that they can look into to increase core strength.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So Grace, who used to work for me, she's moved down south now. It's like honestly, it's like I've lost a limb. miss having her around so much. It was great having that, basically just someone with me in my right hand. So I'm adjusting to life with this missing this phantom limb. Lauren's come in, so we've got another trainer now, Lauren, who's starting. She's doing a lot of the puppy stuff and a lot of like the loose lead and stuff. But Grace's message with a fantastic question, and I'm gonna just change a little bit of how she's worded it, just to make you think a little bit. So if you could tell dog owners, or let's say puppy owners, if you could tell puppy owners one thing, they've got the dog, so you can't get them to change the breed, because I know that's what you'd say. That's what I'd say as well. You can't get them to change the breed. They've got it. They're stuck with it now. It's however old. You could tell them one thing, and they have to do it. Like magically, they are now spellbound into doing or following what you tell them. You can only pick one thing for everyone. What would you pick?
Relationship first.
Fantastic. I love that. So go on.
Without a doubt.
How do you build that? How do you? Obviously, I know, but for the
spending time together, hanging out together before you even start training, just be pals. Just get to know each other, and then slowly bring the education in. I always feel sorry for these puppies that we get them in at work. They're 10 weeks old, they've had the second back, 12 weeks. He needs a second back because he's going to daycare. And I'm like, why?
Stop it.
No. Why get a dog? And I know the odd afternoon or whatever, but these dogs are going in 9 to 5 every day. And then they wonder why they haven't got a relationship with the dog. It's like,
because it's just
relationship first.
It's at Disneyland every day doing other stuff. What is it? I say that a lot, especially with like I do this with like the lead walking a lot of the time. Like the engagement first. Does it want to actually look at and engage with you and spend time with you, or is it just looking for anything else to do? Because who are you? You're just you're just there. So like there's videos on Instagram and stuff, like you see what Albert's walking down the street with me. I ain't saying heel. He just wants to be able to see me because we have this amazing relationship. I always say he's like my soulmate. Have you ever seen The Golden Compass?
Yes.
I always say he's my demon. He's like my soul, but he's on the outside. Loose lead walking isn't a problem with him because recall's not a problem with him. And yes, I've done a lot of training to get that thing that way, but it kind of takes care of itself, like if the relationship's right. And I think it's very easy to be like, right, well, do we get the sit and the down? And I'm guilty of this at puppy class myself, because it's what people want to know, and I'm always trying to push the engagement and the relationship. But then sometimes I kind of think, but they want to know how to get the dog to do stuff, so I have to give them that as well, even though I could do puppy class without touching the dog. I could teach you so much in the 5-6 weeks that you're with us without even seeing your dog. I could give you more than, and if you listen to it, you'd be better off going forward. But then I still need to give them, where do I hold the treat? How do I get the dog to do the technical stuff? But really, that's not what you need to know. Like, get on YouTube, like figure that in five minutes. But what it won't tell you is, and that's a big one for me. So if I was to answer that question, mine would be socializing and socialization aren't the same. That'd be my big thing. Stop telling your dog, say hello to everything. Stop letting your dog go and get involved in everything, because that's not social. That's antisocial.
Yes, it is.
That's ASBO. That is ASBO behavior. If I run around the town, if I run around town touching and sniffing everyone's bum, that'd be a problem. But even if I went introducing myself to everyone and asking everyone questions, eventually someone's going to bottle me because I'm being weird and being antisocial. But then I think it's just this misnomer of socialization if you're not really listening and don't know what you're listening for, you're just going to hear going for a drink with your mates, playing football with your pals, going on a date, interactions, conversation, and you don't understand or necessarily think about the outside of that, which is you can let someone go past without licking their their face, like you can. So and I think it kind of goes that it's the same in that training's easy if you get relationship right. It's also easy if you get socialization right. I thought this just this morning with Albus and Rune. 2 dogs have entered the field and they're off their leads at this point, and they've looked at these dogs and gone, oh, cool. I don't need to recall them. I don't need to do anything because they don't care. Yeah. Because I wasn't taking them to meet everything early on.
And it's also learning the dog's different personalities. I mean, I've got 2 labs. My older one, who's like nearly 15, and she's outgoing and gregarious. Yeah, my fox red chili is quite shy, reserved. So you've got to adapt to that. And I need to protect Chili more than I do Wisp. I don't have to worry about Wisp. She can come and see you. Chili, she might be a bit nervous because you've got a cap on or whatever. She'll be all right in a few minutes, but
I remember that was when I walked into the first aid class, I had a hat on and she was like, "Oi!" And then she took a minute and then she was like, "All right, okay, you can sit down. You're cool." But it took that second.
Yeah, and it's protecting the dog from that as well. It's okay to touch her. It's actually not all right to
absolutely,
touch her.
don't touch my dog.
Yeah.
Okay, that's that. I think both of those, they kind of go hand in hand, don't they? The two things that you wouldn't think about because they're hard to quantify. Like I can show you how good Albus's sit is or how good his spin is or how many dogs he can walk back. Like I can quantify all of that stuff. You can't quantify relationship and socialization because it's the Matthew McConaughey, it's the wazzy, it's a woozy, it's not real. It's not on the elemental scale. It's that I suppose people don't want to look at stuff that can't be tracked and quantified. So that's a really good one. So we've answered the questions there that have been asked of us in terms of medical things, which I think is fantastic because there's hopefully the people that have asked those questions and people who didn't have access to this will have seen we'll see these we'll hear these questions being answered and be able to get something from that. So obviously the vet nurse part of your job is it is what it says on the tin. You're a vet nurse. With that comes all the roles and responsibilities that come with it. But you've also got there's a couple of other things that you do. One of which I've been lucky enough to join you on was the first aid. So you do canine first aid for owners, trainers, walkers. I think you're talking about maybe trying to get more like venues that are dog friendly to have staff that are. Tell me more about that. So how did you set that up? What made you take that into?
Well, it started probably about 17 years ago now, and I was asked by Rochdale Iris PCA to come and do some staff training. I just did a 2-hour session, I think, we were just bandaging dogs up and stuff. And then Oldham said, Oldham Iris PCA, can we have some staff training? And it just grew from there, really. Obviously, didn't charge them, but then as I was doing external ones, they started to charge and what have you. And then it's just grown from there to a point now where
I do it all over, don't you?
All over, yeah. I mean, I'm booked now, like solid now till summer. I've not gone past summer because I want a bit of like my life. So I'm going on holiday and I don't want to book right up and then something really amazing comes up. I'm like, I can't.
Yeah, because I'm going date booked. Story of my life.
So to a point now where I work alongside iPet Network, which originally
I saw this all come up on Facebook. That was really cool. I missed them at the networking thing because I really wanted to come to that, and obviously, like you've just explained, I had stuff on and I couldn't make it.
So basically, what they've got 4 Paws Grooming School, and that's what they started as in Cheshire. And I was an ad hoc tutor for them, and then they decided about 8 years ago, 7, 8 years ago, to really standardise the training that was out there for groomers, and make it better. And now the courses have grown right across the board, really, right from Canicross qualification right through to loads of things, equine first aid, loads of things. And I'm one of their consultants, so for quite a lot of the courses, they'll just send me what they've written, and I'll just dot the I's and cross the T's. But I've written write them all the first aid. So we've got them level 2, level 3 and level 4s now. So it's the first real qualification in the UK at the moment, because I see a lot of dog professionals say, I've been to first aid this weekend. Oh yeah, great. Not mine, but I'll fine. I'll read I'm now qualified in canine first aid. And I do want to message them and say, you're not qualified. Because to gain a qualification, your work has to be sent external and assessed by an external body, an education body like Ofqual. So unless that has happened, you have not got a qualification. So it's just the misuse of words, really. And I want to tell them that they can't write that. So I shouldn't be writing that because it's misleading.
So because you do the Ofqual. You actually do qualify people, because I know when I did it, I didn't do the off-call bit.
Yeah, but people can attend and do the same content, but sometimes people don't necessarily need that piece of paper with a qualification on. The people that do need it are advised very strongly to do it are the overnight boarders. So people who are boarding dogs, their licensing says they preferably they have to have a level 3 in some kind of animal care. So the first aid is the obvious one. And we get a lot of groomers doing it and dog walkers choose to do it.
I think that one of the reasons why I just wasn't as worried about the qualification is I don't have dogs in my care at any time. Like I don't have anyone else's dog, which is my responsibility, unless I'm like handling it during a session for minutes at a time.
And that's it, people that are looking after other people's pets, whether it be dogs, cats or whatever, should have some kind of knowledge, because yes, you might be a dog boarder for 10 years and nothing happens, but tomorrow something might. Tomorrow that dog might jump over your fence after a cat and impale itself on next door's fence. What are you going to do?
And you're not going to have the answer to that question. I think
accidents happen. Otherwise, the vets, we won't be getting accidents in at the vets all the time.
I think the thing that we said that we had this discussion in the networking group thing the other week, last week, wasn't it? The stuff that like I learned in that course, I was like, oh, that's interesting, that's great. And I'm thinking, if something happens in a session, I'm going to be the one that's like in control, and I'm going to be able to. But if that's my dog, I'm going to forget everything because I'm going to panic so much. But then I think if it's someone else, my emotions are going to be a little bit more in check, because I can't imagine, because like I'm not one for panic, and I'm usually pretty. But I feel like if that's my dog, I'm still going to remain calm. I think that's something I'd still do, but I'm going to forget everything that's there. But if I'm looking after someone else's, I feel like my emotions will be able to just stay calm enough to let me pull those answers from my brain that I learned on that course. So obviously, like, can't have you on without mentioning Linda Biscuits.
Linda Biscuits.
Explain to the audience what that is, because like some people will know exactly what that is as soon as I say it. Other people will be wondering, what is he having a stroke? Why is he got word salad? Tell us about Linda Biscuits.
So Linda Biscuits, right. I've got a company with a friend called Vet on Set. So we've got an office in Media City, and she's got a media company, but her hobby company is Animal Direction. So it's an agency for dogs and cats, really. So if somebody wants an advert and they want a dachshund, we'll say, we've got 3 dachshunds, which colour do you want, that kind of thing. And we're actually really ethical as well, because a lot of agencies still will have on their books cropped and docked and pink pugs and all the extremes. We follow the BVA guidelines, so we don't have anything cropped, docked, we don't have any exotic colours, we don't have anything flat face in our books. If we've got somebody asking for them, we say, sorry, we're not the agency for you. So my dog Chili is on that agency. And that agency has been going about 11, 12 years now. And I was helping hand some dog handling with Davinia from Animal Direction. And there was a vet on set, actually, but the vet was 3 rooms away on a laptop. And I'm like, that's not really what you should be doing. You should be watching what's going on, problem solve, risk assess. So I looked at Davinia and we went, we'll set our own company up.
We can do better than that.
We can do better than that. So we did. So we were just getting going, 18 months, 2 years before COVID. And then, COVID obviously stopped, and they were just building back up again now, really. But we got a call from Joe Lysett that his mental Friday night live show was 5 episodes. They just wanted a dog to come in and be on camera, be a camera dog, basically. Because the skit was that he was employing, it was filmed in Birmingham in Digbeth, big studio there, and he wanted to. The skit was, we're employing people that have never worked in TV before. So I want you to meet, ladies and gentlemen, Linda Biscuits. And the camera panned to my dog on the camera with the headphones and everything on. And it was funny.
But she's become quite famous from this now, hasn't she?
Yeah. So he sacked her at the end of the programme because she was, they did it very cleverly, but what are you filming, Linda? What are you filming? And it was like a plate of sausages, not the guest, which was like Joan Collins, and it's sacked. And she jumped off the camera, and like, to me, I just called and she just jumped off the camera. And the whole audience went, And it just hit social media mental. They even got a change.org petition to reinstate Linda Biscuits. It was mental. Yeah.
Social media is great sometimes, isn't it? It's awful, but it's amazing.
Within 48 hours, Channel 4 had given her Instagram. Within 48 hours, she had nearly 5,000 followers. So anyway, they said, the production crew, can you come back next week? I said, yeah, go on then. So the next week
they had her cancelled if you don't.
Yeah, they had her on sound, so she's on the sound desk, and then following that she was on the boom, and then the following week she was a director, and then on the last week she was sat in his chair, and he went, Linda Biscuits. Oh God. Like that. So there's rumours he's got second series commissioned, so we're just waiting for the call to see if, because they keep resharing.
Yeah, I feel like he's made a rod for himself here that he's never going to really be able to
get rid of her. Yeah, basically.
He'll get cancelled.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So
Linda Biscuits.
So all from sort of you being there judging this other vet's work and going, we can do better than that.
Yeah.
It's now led to this creation of this character and this little cult following that she's developed. That's amazing. So who's she met? Who's she been on the show with?
Joan Collins, Alan Carr, Jonathan Ross. I was trying. He was lovely. Yeah, they were all lovely. Joe Lycett's lovely. Yeah. Joan Collins was a bit of drama. I can honestly say I was in the same room as Joan Collins for literally 4 seconds before she said, "There's a dog in the room. I'm allergic to dogs."
No.
Yeah. It's like, damn. But yeah, it was good fun.
Yeah, that sounds like it's so cool. Like,
and if you look her up on now, like all the clips come up like mad.
Yeah, so, hashtag Linda Biscuits is his whole thing, isn't it? Okay, that's amazing. It's so cool. Like, how do you? It's one of those situations. Like, how did I get here? How did this? How did this become a thing? Obviously, I had the TV things really recently with the XL Bully Band. I was on Sky News and Talk TV and on the radio and stuff. Like, come off it and you just think, like, and I'm like, obviously, you get to kind of see and hear a little bit of like what's going on behind the scenes. Just think this is a different world. This is crazy. Like, this is. It's so normal to all these people, but it's like millions of people watching this. This is so it's so big, but
we've done some massive adverts. We've monitored a lot of them. The Wren Kitchens one that's on at the moment.
See, I don't watch enough TV when it's on.
We did that one, and Chili Linda Biscuits is on the one that's coming out. I think it's next week on Demand TV. It's a government advert about energy saving. So she's like the family dog. So there's quite a lot of shots of her like going through the house and what have you.
Yeah, you wouldn't even think that. You see the dogs on like adverts on TV. And you don't really give that much thought, but actually there's a lot goes into having that dog just do that one little bit. There's something. I listened to podcasts of some of the Hollywood animal directors and stuff, and you just think the amount of steps between that dog starting that behavior and finishing it actually to time it all, it's wild. It's a whole different level of
and that's why they have to have welfare, really, because the production crew and directors, they're not necessarily animally. So
they just need to get the shot.
They need to get the shot. And sometimes you have to say, hang
this
on,
dog's having an hour. So the welfare of the dog still gets looked out for, even
cats are the hardest. They'll often ask, can you get that cat to jump from there to there? No, I can't.
You can't get a cat to do anything.
Can dog, if it's trained, you can give it a direction. Cat, no.
Like I've seen, I think it's Denise Fenzi's doing it at the minute. Do you know Denise Fenzi? She's doing it with her cats. She's trying to like prove, look, I can do it, I can do it. But it's
I mean, you can. I mean, I've got a couple of friends that train them really when they can go send them A to B. But the average cat that we've got on like our agency, just pet cats, they're good for stills and things like that.
So because I mentioned before the show, so Rio, an Australian Shepherd that I trained as a puppy, he went to Crofts, ended up winning, like I was telling you about before the show. Beautiful dog, like just beyond stunning. I think he was on Purina, like he was their poster child for quite. I don't know if he probably still is.
He's still on.
So that's Rio, but he's a cat. Like he's not doing anything there that's like scripted. He's just looking beautiful. He's just flat out just being pretty. But I wasn't watching and I wasn't there, but I can imagine behind the scenes, like as soon as like they're like, right, cut, and he's like, yeah, cool, I'm just gonna go eat this thing now, and he'll have been just off doing stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas, and I think obviously you having your training background as well, and your interest in just your expertise, that you can guide Chili around and you can get her to do a little bit more crazy stuff. But I think I always think he's this famous dog now that he's on Purina and he won at Crufts and all the rest of it. He's got no idea what's going on. He's just happy to be involved and he's just a lovely dog. I think I always say I trained him, but I really just did a bit of basics to make sure he didn't pee in their house and he didn't attack other dogs and stuff. We just sort of started him off on the right track. But to Leona, I said, it's out, you taught him everything he knows, and I'm like, I didn't, and he doesn't know anything. Yeah. He's just a good boy. He's not doing anything. He's just stands still, which is what he has to do at Crufts. And he stands still on the advert and just looks pretty. Yeah. He's just beautiful. Yeah. Whereas I think if I was to send Albus into something like that, he can follow instructions and he'd do a bit of stuff. But
and there's quite a lot of pre-prep, when she was really because my friend that bred her, I said, when they're 10 days, 14 days old, can you just start flashing your phone camera and things like that?
So you had the TV things in mind? Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So because you had the agency.
Yeah, we did.
Right,
the agency,
okay.
Yeah, so did a lot of prep. And Eve, the photographer, was at the... I could go to her studio when I wanted and she just set the umbrellas up.
So that's that socialisation, isn't it? That's just exposure to stuff that you're going to need.
Although she's quite shy in other situations, she goes in the studio, she's fine. She goes, no.
So this is just normalised to her. Yeah. You just you wouldn't think about unless you had the agency, you're just not going to think about exposure to cameras and lights and studios and all the rest of it. Which I suppose why when you put her on a TV set, she's just this is normal to me. So one last thing I wanted to sort of cover, you've been really involved in the, I'm going to get the name wrong, but North
Canine Lost Dog Tracking Team.
Lost Dog Tracking Team. So tell us a little bit about that. We've got a couple of minutes left. Just explain to us what that is and how it's helping people and dogs.
Yeah. So as a dog trainer over Huddersfield Way, Claire North, so hence North Canine, and she specialises in tracking and scent work and things like that. So it was just when I got Chili, I thought, because we talk about fox red Labradors, people are getting them, they're getting more popular. But, I always explain they're like a normal Labrador, but with a fifth gear. You really need to be an enthusiast, like a lot of breeds. You have to work them, So what can we do that I'd enjoy and the dog would enjoy? So scent work. So she's already scent detection trained. So that means they'll find something and fix on it. So we use firearms. So just use a little gun oil, which is really good. Yeah. And then we thought, well, we need to do something that's a bit more basically. So she's got 3 levels, so level 1, level 2, level 3, and if you pass level 3 then you can potentially be what we call operational. So Chili is now an operational team member of the Lost Dog Tracking Team. So we'll cover probably
alongside being TV star. Of course, carry on.
So basically it's for tracking dogs that have gone missing. So for example, I'm trying to think of the last one. I don't want to tell any stories that got bad endings, really, because occasionally that does happen, where dogs have drowned and things like that. But dogs lost on the moors, we won't track straight away. So if somebody messages 20 minutes after the dog's gone missing, we won't rush out. Yeah. So, well, you need to leave it a few hours. And usually in the meantime, everybody will suggest other teams, like drone teams and things like that. So sometimes drones are better than the tracking.
Yeah, so because I'm a drone pilot for Drone SAR. And they've not used it once. I've just not come up. There just hasn't one that's been suitable for us to get involved in that have been thingy. But obviously the dogs tracking is a totally different ballgame, isn't it? A totally different way of thinking about it.
I think a lot of people think we track the dog and say, there's the dog and we chase it. We don't. It's all about finding where the scent has been the most recent. Yeah. Did it go left or did it go right? So we can concentrate. If the scent went right, then we concentrate that direction. We forget about that. And it's to try and get the dog to settle in one place. So the owner then
traps and owners and all the rest of it. Okay, cool. Yeah. I want. So, favour, I want to ask of you, can you nudge Claire and see if she'll come on the podcast? Because I think she'd be able. That'd be such an interesting episode. I'm sure that you could talk for hours on that sort of thing.
Yeah, she will.
Cool. So. Yeah. Where can people find you if they want to do any first aid training or if they want to get their dog on TV or anything else that'd be useful from you? Where can people find you? Yeah, so probably email's probably best. So it's Rachel Bean, it's RACHELBEAN at hotmail.co.uk, or I'm on Facebook, just send me a message. Cool. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. Couldn't think of a better first guest to come on the podcast and help sort of as many owners as possible. So really, really appreciate coming on. Thank you so much. And hopefully we'll get you on again at some point. Because this could go on and on. We could have this conversation a million times and still be finding stuff to talk about. So really appreciate it. Thank you.
Welcome.
So thank you very much, guys, for listening and watching. Like I said, check Rachel out on Facebook, or if you do have any sort of first aid training requirements, Rachel's the person to go to. I've been on that training. It's amazing. And we'll see you on the next one. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you.